How's everybody doing? Well, I'm feeling wonderful this evening. It's about 7:46 in the evening. I'm doing videos much early because it's crunch time. Trying to cast this. This has been difficult casting this play. It's been difficult. It really has been. This retrograde really fucked me up. As far as scheduling. And, I'll be leaving, as you all know, to Europe. And, I'll be gone for a minute. So that's why I'm trying to get as much videos as possible as I can. Because when I try to do my videos abroad, as you know, I lose the fucking videos and I lose the fucking pictures. It's my Saturn. So anyway, today, well, first, how's everybody doing? Don't forget now to fundraise and buy Mary Kay products, to the website that I gave you, the link that I gave you, right? MaryKay.com, /T Tiffany. Okay? Make sure, if $5 goes towards the GoFundMe page by every order that you place with Mary Kay. So, again, thank you for your donations if you go that route. Or if you just give money because of my content, thank you so much for that. Or because of you are in support of the theater. Either way, your money is very well appreciated and accepted and put to good use. Now, today we're going to talk about Virgo and Pisces. Now, I know that at the beginning I did a compatibility concerning elementals, like air, fire, water, and earth. And I mentioned certain compatibilities, and I mentioned Virgo and Pisces, as well as Capricorn and Virgo, and Taurus and Capricorn and Virgo as combinations. And I did something kind of a little generic. But it seems that by popular demand, I need to do this combination because people are asking for this combination. And I thought I had done it. I had to check my records to see if I had done it. I didn't do it. So we're going to do it today. So we're going to jump right in and we're going to discuss where we see this combination of Virgo and Pisces, which is the polar opposites, which will fall under the setting of incompatibility of signs. Because even though you're dealing with earth and water, which are mutable, which are simpatical elements, then opposition psychologically, when it comes to human behavior, tends to give off an opposite of the desired effect. Instead of harmony, cooperation, there'll be lack of harmony, lack of cooperation, and lack of psychological self-awareness. Not just with this combination, Pisces, Virgo, but with any combination that's the opposite polarity of each other. Even if the elements are simpatical, the psychological dynamic as it expresses itself in human behavior is not simpatical. If anything, one partner can project their insecurities onto the other, or one partner can project the expectations of what they need from that partner onto that partner without that partner knowing it. And it can go like a ping pong. It can go back and forth, back and forth. And that's true of any sign that's in opposition to each other. Like Gemini, Sagittarius, Leo, Aquarius, Virgo, Pisces, Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, Libra, Taurus, Scorpio. Okay? So, even though they are simpatical elements or sextile elements, earth and water create a 60-degree sextile relationship. And fire and air also creates a sextile 60-degree relationship. And these aspects are harmonious. Along with the 120-degree trine is also a harmonious aspect. And it doesn't have to always involve the elementals. It doesn't always have to involve the elementals. But when it does, it doesn't count On paper, it seems perfect and it seems like it works. But like I said, when it comes to actual empirical experience, there tends to be conflict when it comes to opposing elements, of the signs. And Virgo and Pisces is no different. Okay? Now, where do we see this in nature? Where do we see this combination of Virgo and Pisces? Well, Virgo and Pisces is earth and water. So, the earth itself is Virgo, and the oceans and all bodies of water is Pisces. That right there is an analogy. It's an example of nature. In any combination that we find earth and water, it is symbolic representation of the archetype which Virgo and Pisces represent. Okay? So understand that, well, let me just say that aside from that, Virgo and Pisces share a powerful symbiotic connection. They can live a symbiotic relationship or they can live secular relationships. And what I mean by that is that, listen, I've met many Virgos here and abroad that either can take this spirituality stuff with a grain of salt. And that is a front because that's something that they present to people. So like that, they're not seen as the ones that are mystical. Because, people don't always respect that. People are afraid of it. And people harbor all kinds of prejudices concerning the spiritual worlds and the inner dimensions of the psyche. Virgo himself is not always comfortable with those types of perceptive feelings and hunches and intuitions and psychic perceptions, And Virgo does have them. Any Virgo that tells you that he doesn't, he's full of shit. Or she's full of shit. They are just as psychic and as intuitive as Pisces. Where do we get it from? From Pisces, our polar opposite. So don't believe the hype. Now, there are some Virgos that might be close to the spiritual worlds and act methodically and pragmatically and pretend because they're very good at convincing you that this stuff doesn't exist. And therefore they hold on to the logistics of the mind, the logical pathways of deductive reasoning and logic, thinking that that's going to make them feel safe. That's going to make them feel that they're living in a secure world. Bullshit. Bullshit. And it's a shame that Virgos, young and old, before 30 and past 30, can harbor these types of prejudices. But understand that they do this as a cloak. Now, what are they cloaking? Their own fucking fear of the unknown. And the fact that life is not within the confines of their control. That there's something outside of us. God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. That determines our lives. Daily. Monthly. Long-term, short-term. There is something outside of us that ultimately determines our destiny. But Virgos don't want to hear that shit. For the most part, most people don't want to hear that shit. And when I say that Virgos don't want to hear that shit, I'm basically talking about those who are spiritually closed. And I've met many Virgos that, I've had some Virgos that stopped being my friend because I believe in astrology. And I endorse in it. And you can see it in their face. You can see it in their eyes that they're looking at you with dissension or with condescending. Like, one guy said to me, I don't like you. And he was a good friend of mine, a Virgo. And he gave me this look of hatred that I could not put into words. I don't like you because you believe in that fucking shit. You believe in it! And I looked at him. I was in my 20s. He was really angry. And you know, and I had to understand that there are people who don't like what I do for a living, who don't like the messenger. And the messenger is often in danger of being killed. Because you know what they say, if you don't want to hear the message, kill the messenger. And I've certainly been in those positions. Virgo can be very bigoted intellectually, believing that he knows what he knows and there's no other frame of references outside his own box. And that's unfortunate that you'll find some Virgos like that. What does that mean? They're not where they need to be in their evolution to receive these types of mysteries. They will, in multiple lives to come, as the soul evolves. They will evolve and expand in consciousness. So, I spend this time to say that because if we're talking about compatibility of signs, which this combination doesn't fall under compatibility of sign, it falls under incompatibility or neutral. Just like a Leo, Leo, Libra, Libra, or even Capricorn and Cancer, which I put under neutral. Well, because it can go either way. These signs there's so much more involved in the intricacies of getting to know each other than just the genetic presentation of, you know, we are logical and methodical, our Pisces is mystical and psychic. The reality is that not all Virgos, not all Pisces are mystical and psychic. I've met some Pisces that don't have a fucking clue about the spiritual life. So what do you do when you meet souls like that? Well, you're probably meeting a virgin spirit, a young soul, a soul who is yet to discover who the essence of their own being is. And they are in slate number 1. For them to be the Pisces that we know Pisces to be of, they might need to live multiple lifetimes. Multiple lifetimes to get to that level of evolution where the spirit and the soul reaches a certain level of consciousness where they're aware and they're in tune with the vibrations of the universe. But those of us who don't believe or endorse the spiritual world are not in tune with the course of the universe. And it is these people that run the risk of falling in a net and getting caught up in the net and having no way to survive or be rescued. They don't have a spiritual base, so they're not going to pray to nobody to rescue them. So they're up shit's creek. And sometimes we do have human beings in that basic level of evolution where they are in slate 1, an open slate, a clean slate, and they don't have a clue. Oh, boop-be-doop. This time it's not the personality or the ego, it's the soul that's boop-be-doop and is here to accumulate experiences, accumulate knowledge, empirical data that then it can use to build to help advance the evolution of that soul. This is perfectly explained and seen when we're dealing with this combination of Pisces and Virgo. Both Pisces and Virgo are teachers. Virgo teaches spiritually, but makes it, he knows how to connect it to the mundane realities of life. Pisces is also a teacher, and a great teacher, a master teacher. But his teaching or her teaching is more spiritual, it's more cosmic, and it doesn't tie any correlation of it to the mundane world. It's very antithetical, and this is why it's very difficult for people to believe the realities of Pisces. It's very difficult for people to connect to the ultimate inner truth of Pisces because we don't have a correlation of it on the earth plane. Things that are spiritual are very hard to define and put into words. It says in the Bible, I believe it's in I believe it's Revelation. I'm not quite sure. Where he says, the kingdom of God has not reached the imagination of man. That's deep. That's deep. Considering the observable universe and the beauty of the observable universe, and even our own fantasies of God and our own fantasies, even the best science fiction space movies that are out there, like Star Wars, you know, I don't care. That is nothing compared to the reality and the beauty of God, which has not reached the imagination of man. That's the fucking deep, if you think about it. It's deep. We have no idea of the beauty of the spirituality. Now while we're here in carbon matter, we need to die in order to understand that truth. When we leave our physical prison and go back to the cosmos where we truly come from and we truly belong. Unfortunately, on our journey to become human, we cross the river Styx, the sea of forgetfulness. And once we abandon into carbon matter, we forget who we are spiritually. Those principles are embodied in Pisces and Virgo. So for this combination to work, there has to be, the Virgo has to be open. Because if we're talking about the Virgo man and the Pisces woman, I'm going to tell you who's going to give you the problem. It'll be the Virgo man. The Virgo man is Earth. The Virgo man is concerned about tangible results, material reality. And he wants to get at it or derive at it or figure it out and conquer it on his terms using the power of his own intellect. Fortunately, he gets it done. He makes it the mere power of his will. He makes it happen. But because he makes it happen doesn't mean that his basis for doing it is right. And that basis is that he doesn't believe that the spiritual world is real. He thinks it's bullshit. No, you got to make yourself. You're your own man. You got to work hard and build yourself. Ain't nothing out there. No, everything has to come to you through your own sweat and hard effort. I like that ethic. And it really works for Virgo and for the other earth signs. And anyone who ascribes to that model. Of course, the thing is that it doesn't happen strictly and solely because of the will. There are spiritual principles behind everything we do. And there is a council in the heavens that determines whether you are to proceed or not. That's something that Virgo will never accept or understand. But with the Pisces woman who knows all truth will do like this and wink. That's okay, dear Virgo. I'll help you. I won't say a word. You know, it's silent wisdom. It is the ultimate beauty of the soul. And that is the value and beauty of Pisces. It will be the Pisces woman that will elevate the Virgo man or any other man of the zodiac. When the Virgo man is lost and confused and he don't know what's going on or what step to take, the Pisces woman has seen it, has done it, and will spell it out when he gets there. The Pisces woman will have already seen his success before he even sees it. She is truly psychic. And the word psychic does no justice to the level of perception and intuition and psychic mediumship that this woman has. But somehow the Virgo man doesn't respect it. I'll tell you why he doesn't respect it. because he can fucking control it. Now, we Virgos are a little bit of a control freak. We are a little bit of a control freak. You know, if we can't control the outcome of our circumstances, then we lose control. We lose center. We don't want to believe that there's something outside of us pulling the strings. Fuck that shit. We don't want to believe that. And even those Virgos that do know refuse to take it in. They'll fight. Like, no. Like the Pharaoh and the Ten Commandments. You know, the old movie with Yul Brynner, where he goes like this. Ah! While his entire chariot is engulfed by the Red Sea. Because the motherfucker was so stubborn that after he was told not to cross that sea that he would be destroyed, he did it anyway. And finally, he was broken into pieces. Moses is God was the ending of the line before the movie finished. Yul Brynner, fantastic actor. I'll never forget that movie. Even though it was all full of bullshit, I love the fact that they show how the ego can be defeated. And that nothing, he thought that his ego can surpass God. And sometimes us Virgos can think like that, that we are invulnerable, invincible. That's our connection with Scorpio. That's why we're so connected and we're so equally powerful. So, how do you make this relationship work with a Virgo that may not be open-minded to the spiritual? Because you're going to need to be if you're going to be with a Pisces woman. Now let's flip it. Now, what if it was a Virgo woman and a Pisces man? How would that work out? How would that work out? Well, let me tell you. The Pisces man can be fucking reckless. He can be reckless. He could be horrid. Come on, Pisces man. Come on. Let's call a spade a spade. Especially when they're young, below 30. Look at my videos on Pisces men. They can be a piece of work. And even though in their heart, they're well-meaning. Just the way they do things and their paradoxical behavior. Remember, it's two fishes going in opposite directions. These men, you know, and you think it gets better when they're past 30. Sometimes it doesn't. It gets worse. With Pisces, it truly is a mixed bag. Particularly when you're dealing with the male. You know, so this is one of those combinations where it's a case-by-case basis. I cannot even, as an astrologer, give you a general consensus as to how to deal with Pisces, the Pisces man. The Pisces man is just, he just is. He just is. My prayers go towards the Pisces, towards the Virgo woman that's with a Pisces man. The Pisces man is contradictory. Says one thing, does another. Can disappear on you for days. Can cheat on you underneath your nose. Can be irresponsible with money. With his own life. I know I'm saying the negative. But that's really what stands out. That doesn't mean that he's without virtue. Of course he's with virtue. He has virtue. But when it comes to the mundane vicissitudes of life and interpersonal relationships, this man can be as complex and as paradoxical as Aquarius. Or a Scorpio. You can't really get to know him. And you would think that time will make him better. It might, but mostly it doesn't. The Pisces man lives a hallucinogenic existence internally. Not all of them, but most of them. We're done with part 1.